morning, beautiful people. Welcome to yet another episode of the Younib Breakfast Show with me, Peninah, Wachera. I hope you guys have woken up well and are excited to face your day. Yeah? For me, I'm really excited for the conversation we're bringing to you today. Yeah, as it is the norm here at the Younib Breakfast Show, let's go straight to the morning bite of the day. Have you ever felt like your emotions are running the show? Like your mood is swinging in ways you can't quite control? Or maybe you've watched someone you care about struggle with intense highs and lows and you weren't sure how to help. Today, we're going to dive deep into what mood disorders really are, what causes them, and most importantly, how we can support ourselves and each other when facing these challenges. We'll be sharing stories, exploring practical tools for managing our mental health, and even busting a few myths along the way. So grab your tea, coffee, or water, whatever keeps you cozy, and get ready for an honest, compassionate conversation that just might help you or someone you love find hope and healing. Remember, this show is proudly brought to you by Miss Ashan and Younib Organization, and we're trying to reach out to the community to teach you on matters mental health. So if you need any psychological help, you can always call the number 0700-352-250, and our very own therapist will be able to help you out. Remember, you can interact with us through our social media platform, Younib_TV on Instagram, Younib Media TV on Facebook, and there's a number on your screen. You can SMS or WhatsApp 0719-144-144. Allow me to actually introduce to you the guest of the day. Good morning.
Good morning to you.
How is your morning?
My morning is fine. What about yours?
Also, it has been good. Okay. So far, so good.
How is the mood?
I feel nice. Yeah, I feel nice. Okay. How about you?
My mood is also happy. I'm happy. Yeah, and I'm optimistic to a good day ahead.
Okay. Yes. So kindly look at the camera for maybe our viewers who are tuned in for the first time. Kindly just introduce yourself for them. Okay.
I know by now I am a household name, but as Peninah has said, for the benefit of those who are joining us for the first time, my name is Rodgers, Okeyo, Manason, and I'm a psychologist by training. Thank you.
Okay, karibu sana. It's always a pleasure having you here.
Asante sana.
Yeah, so today we are talking about, or we're having a conversation on mood disorder.
Yes.
Yeah, and definitely we can't just start talking more about mood disorder without even understanding it. So please help us understand what mood disorder is all about.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Peninah. This is a very important topic for us to discuss about. I think the last time I was talking about anxiety disorders, and I say that is one of the most prevalent mental health disorders worldwide. Mood disorder also come in that category. Actually, in Kenya, we say that the most prevalent mental health disorders are anxiety disorders, mood disorders, and then we also have substance use disorders or addiction, as is commonly known, and schizophrenia. Those are the most prevalent mental health disorders in our country. So when we'll be talking about mood disorder, this is something that I think a lot of people have at one point or the other either experienced or interacted with. But now, going now into the topic, I think I'll start from afar a bit so that we be able to understand exactly where does this originate from. So by doing that, I think first of all I'd like to define what mood is.
Yeah.
Yes, and I'll also define what mood episodes are before I go into mood disorders. Okay. Yeah. So when we talk about a mood, mood refers to a broader emotional state of someone. And it's a bit distinct from an emotion because emotions are very specific. Emotion is something that when you get into a situation or when you are stimulated, if you interact with a certain thing, and then how you react to it, perhaps you get into a lively room where people are dancing and singing, and then you feel good. That's an emotion, because whatever whatever has made you to react that way is the environment itself. Or perhaps if someone tells you something nice, Peninah, you look beautiful, you definitely feel nice. How you're feeling has been influenced by whatever you've been told. Likewise, if someone perhaps tells you that you're stupid, how will you feel?
Definitely bad.
You feel bad.
Yeah.
That's an emotion. So emotions mostly are tied to a situation. That's to be something triggering them, especially externally. Now, our mood are mostly internal, and they might have an external trigger, or they might not be a trigger at all, and they usually last for a very long period of time. So a good example is perhaps if someone has a sad mood. Let's say you wake up in the morning, and then during the whole day, if someone asks you how are you feeling today, you just say that I was sad. Then that's a mood now, because you cannot perhaps even tie it to something that happened. Sometimes you just wake up and you're feeling low, or sometimes you might wake up and feeling cheerful for the whole day without any cause. That's now a mood. And every person usually have a mood every day. So perhaps at the end of the day, especially for those people who journal, usually write what was my mood for today. Perhaps I was cheerful, I was irritable, I was happy, I was sad. But now the general state of the feeling for that day, what was it? That's what our mood is. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So besides the mood, now there's something also we refer to as mood episodes. And mood episodes, they refer to a period when someone feels extremely sad or extremely happy. And now mood episodes are what mostly lead to mood disorder. Okay. Now, so when we come to a mood disorder, we say that it's a pattern of illness where someone has an abnormal mood. And as I've said, mostly they're tied to the episodes, where you're feeling extremely happy or extremely sad. I think that helps to define those concepts.
Well, I like the fact that you've actually explained to us about mood, then the mood episodes, and also the mood disorder. Now I know we all understand. Okay. When we talk about mood, we know what we mean when we say mood. When we say mood episodes, we know exactly what is mood episodes. And also when we talk about mood disorder, now we understand what mood disorder is all about. Yeah, and emotions.
Thank you.
Yes. Yeah. So I want us, before we take a short break, I'll just have to ask the question of the day. And today's question is, what are some things you do to take care of your mental health when you feel down or overwhelmed? Yeah. Rodgers has given an example of journaling. So please let us know through our social media platform, Younib_TV on Instagram, Younib Media TV on Facebook, and there's a number on your screen. You can SMS or WhatsApp 0719 144 144. Let's take this short break as you continue sending in your feedback. Welcome back. This is still the Younib Breakfast Show, and today we are having a conversation on mood disorder. Yeah, before the break, we've been actually taught about mood episodes, and also what mood disorder is all about. And I asked you a question, and the question was, what are some things you do to take care of your mental health when you feel down or overwhelmed? And here are your responses. So someone says, I take long walks in nature and try to unplug from social media. It helps me clear my mind. Someone else says, I usually write in my journal to get my thoughts out. Sometimes just seeing them on paper makes me feel lighter. Okay. Someone else says, I try to pray or meditate. Even if it's just for 5 minutes, it helps me feel connected and calmer. Someone else says, I reach out to a friend or family member to talk it out. Just having someone listen makes a big difference. And I think I'll sample a last one. I try to exercise or at least stretch a bit. Moving my body really helps shift my mood. Yes, and there are a lot of your responses, but allow me, because of time, to just stop there. Yeah. So I'd like to extend this question to you.
Yes.
So what do you do, or what are some of the things you do to take care of your mental health when you feel down or overwhelmed?
When I feel down, yes.
Yeah.
I think majority of the feedback that you've sampled are exactly what I do. Mm-hmm. I'll give a personal experience. Like, for example, me, I wake up every day at 4:30, and then I jog for like 7 kilometers. That is from 5 a.m. to 6 a.m. Mm-hmm. And it really helps me to keep in shape, both physically and mentally.
Okay.
Yes. So, but also let me clarify something in regards to what the viewers have said, that the thing that they do to keep them in shape and also to have a stable mood, if I might say that, they're very nice things. But let me also clarify that they cannot be used to treat mood disorder.
Yeah. Actually, this is just a question on regard to what we do. Just a casual one, not exactly about the mood disorder. Maybe
not about the mood disorder.
Yeah, just to clarify that.
Okay.
Yes, so we've gotten to understand how you do to relax, which is a good thing. Many people try to bring in the aspect of exercising, yeah?
Yes.
And, well, that's a lot for that. Okay. Anyway, it's good for the mental health. I agree, yeah? So before the break, we had, as I said earlier, you have taught us about mood disorders and mood episodes.
Yes.
I'd like you now to tell us the different types of mood disorders.
The mood disorders.
Yeah.
So there are different types of mood disorders. Mostly there are two. Mm-hmm. We have the depressive disorders and then bipolar disorders.
Yeah.
But within depressive disorders, we also have some different types of depressive disorders. And also within bipolar disorders, we have different types of bipolar disorders. Mm-hmm. But the main types are two, depressive and bipolar. But let me take you back kidogo. Before we come to mood disorders, I say that mood episodes are the ones that mostly contribute to mood disorders. Yeah. And I did mention that mood episodes is a period of time where someone feels extremely happy or extremely
sad.
And this can last for up to 2 weeks. So allow me to also give the different types of episodes, mood episodes that people experience, that will eventually now culminate into the mood disorders. So the first episode is called the major depressive episode. And for this one, for a period of at least 2 weeks, if either someone is feeling depressed, they have a problem with either eating or sleeping, they have that low energy or fatigue, and also they have trouble concentrating, And with major depressive episodes, sometimes they might have suicidal thoughts or ideations. So they might feel like they want to take their own lives. They're not forgetting about, they lose interest in a lot of things. The things that previously they used to enjoy. Yeah, within that period. So it's an episode, something that's lasting for like 2 weeks. And then it might recur or might not recur. Then another episode is called maniac episode. So depressive episode, major depressive episode is extremely sad or extremely low. Then mania is extremely high. I did mention that one best way to describe mood is by saying that we're either happy or sad. So when we become extremely sad, then we refer to that as depression or major depressive episode. When you get extremely high, then it becomes mania or the manic episode. So with manic episode, also for that 1 week or 2 weeks, you'll find that someone might feel very elated, very happy. They may also be grandiose. Grandiose is where someone feels like they're very important or they're very superior. I did mention that when we were talking about personality disorders.
Yeah.
And then they might also be very talkative. When someone has a manic episode, they talk so much. They cannot, the brain is very hyper. They cannot really calm down. And then they are hyperactive, meaning that they cannot settle. They're very restless, hyperactive. And then they might also have bad judgments because of the hyperactivity. And in most cases, or not in most cases, actually people with manic episodes usually require hospitalization. Because during that manic episode, they might do something that might harm themselves or harm other people. Or they might even engage in risky behaviors. So in most cases, hospitalization is recommended when someone has a manic episode. Then the last type of episode is called hypomanic episode. So for context, I did mention that mood, we describe mood in terms of happy or sad. So let me use, for example, a wave, where when the wave is high, then that is you're happy. Then when iko chini,
very low,
you're sad. So when it gets very low, you're depressed. When it gets very high, you are mania or you're manic. So between happy and maniac, uko juu, hapo katikati, there's that hypomania. I don't know if it's making sense. Okay, maniac is an extreme feeling of being happy. You're extremely happy. But you can be happy, ijafiku extreme, lakini uko hapo katikati, between happy and mania. Then that one is referred to it as hypo.
So it's the normal state.
It's not the normal state. The normal state is either whether the normal mood is whether you're happy or sad.
Okay.
Sawa.
Yeah.
So tukienda side ya juu, we have hypomania and then mania. Of course, I started with mania. Mania goes to the extreme high. But hapo katikati, you also you are happy, but not that extreme as mania. Sawa.
Yeah.
Na huku chini tuko na sad and then depression. Hapo katikati, though it's not clinically recognized as an episode, but hapo katikati we talk about stress or distress, the negative stress that definitely can lead now to depression. Because of some of that stress can lead to depression if not managed. So we talk about sad, distress, and then depression. On the other hand, we talk about happy, hypomania, and then mania. Yeah. So for hypomania, it's more like the manic episode, but it's less severe than mania. And hypomania does not require hospitalization. Yeah. So very quickly now to the types of the mood disorders. I did mention that there are how many? Two main ones: the depressive disorders and the bipolar. The bipolar disorder. So when we talk about depression, as I've said, these are they're marked by extremely sad mood. When someone you are sad for let's say like 2 weeks or longer, and then most of the time you find that these people they lose interest in things that previously they used to enjoy. They might get a feeling of hopelessness and helplessness, and sometimes they also get suicidal. Or a significant number of people at some point when people are extremely depressed, they might become suicidal. So there are different types of depressive disorders. So number one, we talk about major depressive disorder, where someone has an episode of we talk about the major depressive episode. So when someone has experienced that episode either once or recurrently, then we can say that they're having a major depressive disorder. I don't know if I'm confusing you.
It's okay.
Okay. I want this to become very clear. I started with the episode. I said that episode is where for at least 2 weeks someone feels either extremely happy or extremely sad.
Yeah.
And I did mention that there are 3 known episodes: the major depressive episode, the manic episode, and the hypomanic episode. And I say that these episodes are what most of the time culminate into disorders. So I've mentioned that there are 2 types of disorders: the depressive disorder and the bipolar disorder. Now, within depressive disorders, there are different types of depressive disorder. And the first one is the major depressive disorder, where you've experienced episodes of depression, or you've had that major depressive episode either once or recurrently. Then you can say that you have the major depressive disorder. leave alone the episode. There's an episode and then the disorder. I know they're a bit confusing. But quickly, let me go to the other ones. Perhaps we'll be able to get a distinction when I mention the other ones. We have something called like substance or medication-induced depressive disorder. And this also falls under depressive disorder, but this one is specifically for people who abuse drugs, alcohol or substances. So you find that we are told that like alcohol is a depressant when taken in large quantities, and we even have other drugs that are depressants. So you might find that people who are using those substances might end up developing depression as a result of using those substances. So we also have depressive disorders due to another medical condition. Just like anxiety, someone might have those terminal illnesses, and then it brings about episodes of depression. And then we also have premenstrual dysphoric disorder, and this is mostly evident in ladies. You find that ladies, before they experience their menses, for those 2 or 3 days, they become a bit moody, and probably they get the depressive mood. So if it becomes very significant or clinical, then it can also qualify as a disorder. And then the last one that I'll do mention under this category is the disruptive mood dysregulation disorder. And this one is mostly evident in children. You might find some children who usually throw tantrum. They're just ever moody and they throw tantrums. Wako na hiyo temper mbaya. So that also is a depressive disorder under that category, and the category of depressive disorders. Now, when we come to bipolar disorders, so people with bipolar disorders, the word bipolar comes from the poles, North Pole and South Pole. So it means that you have extreme North Pole huko juu kabisa, then South Pole iko chini. So hizo mood zako zina fluctuate between the very high and very low. So people with bipolar disorder, mostly they experience both mania and depressive episodes. At some point they're very happy, and then at some point they're very sad. Yes. So I will not go into the types because I can see that they'll be a bit confusing. But I think just for the benefit of our viewers, they have to understand those 2 concepts. That people with depressive disorders only experience the depression episodes, but people with bipolar disorder, they experience both mania, those extremely happy, and extremely sad. And now, how do you distinguish between depression and bipolar? So in diagnosis, people with depressive disorders, their mood is just sad. So you find that most of the time they withdraw, they isolate themselves, they're sad, they are suicidal. But now people with bipolar, what is usually diagnosed is the mania. So you find that most of the time they're hyper, they talk too much, they're grandiose, they're restless. But usually say that after every manic episode, it is followed by a depressive episode. So if you see someone who's very talkative and very restless, it means that there's a likelihood that they might also get depressed at some point. Because from extremely high to extremely low. That's how mood works. So I don't know if the 2 types have been able to come out clearly.
Yes, they have. I've mentioned about the depressive disorder and bipolar disorders. Okay, thank you so much. I hope we have been able to understand what we have been taught, because now I feel like we are back to class, and we're getting to learn more about mood disorders. Remember, if you've seen that you have the signs and the symptoms that he has mentioned, it's important for you to actually seek professional help, and we offer it here free of charge. So you can always call the number 0700-352-250, and our very own therapist will be able to help you out here, to interact with us, to ask your questions, to maybe actually suggest a conversation that you want us to have. You can always reach us through our social media platform, Younib_TV on Instagram, Younib Media TV on Facebook, and there's a number on the screen. You can SMS or WhatsApp 0719-144-144. I'd like us to take a short break, and we'll be back with more. Welcome back. This is still Younib Breakfast Show with me, Peninah, Wachera, and my guest, Rodgers. Remember, this show is proudly brought to you by Miss Your Ashen and Younib Organization, and we're trying to reach out to the community to teach you on matters mental health. So if you need any psychological help, you can always call the number 0700-352-250, and our very own therapist will be able to help you out. Yeah. Coming back to the conversation, today we are having a conversation on mood disorder. And before the break, we've gotten to understand the different types of mood disorders. Yeah. And now, coming back, I'd like to know the causes. What are some of the causes of mood disorder?
Okay, so the causes of mood disorders, the ones that perhaps have been researched on, I actually like to mention that because there could be other causes that perhaps have not yet been documented.
Yeah.
So genetics has been mentioned as one of the causes, that some mood disorders can be passed from a generation to the other.
Okay.
And perhaps to explain this, for example, we understand that the people who die by suicide, nowadays we don't say that they've committed suicide.
Yeah.
People who have died by suicide. He said that a lot of people who die by suicide, the major cause of that is usually mental illness, and depression has been mentioned as the key mental illness that leads people to die by suicide. Because we've said that depression has those symptoms of feeling suicidal. Yeah. So suicide has been said that it has a genetic cause. That sometimes even if people we usually find that when someone has when you go for assessment, you'll be asked about your family history. Maybe if someone has ever committed suicide in the family. So in that regard, I would say that genetics do contribute to this. The second thing is comorbidity. I did mention this also during the last show when we were talking about anxiety disorder.
Yeah.
In comorbidity is where two illnesses coexist at the same time. So we find that someone perhaps has a substance use disorder, and then they also develop, or they also have a mood disorder, either depression or bipolar as a result. We also have a very common disorder called schizoaffective disorder. This is where someone has schizophrenia. Schizophrenia is a kind of psychosis, the one that we commonly know. Perhaps ukiona mtu pale kwa market akiokota vitu ama akijiongelesha tutasema ni mwenda wazimu. The clinical term that defines such a person is schizophrenia. So my father, someone has schizophrenia and then they still have a mood disorder. It's called schizoaffective disorder. Those are now two different disorders coexisting.
Okay.
Someone can still have even a physical ailment, let's say like cancer or HIV, or even diabetes, and then still have a mood disorder. So they can concur when the mood is influenced by this other illness. We also have personality, especially the borderline personality disorder and the avoidant personality disorder. We talked about people with avoidant personality disorder as people who don't enjoy operating in social settings. So they tend to isolate themselves. And that loneliness itself is a key factor in depression. Because whenever you're lonely, human beings, we're social beings. So when you isolate yourself, when you live a lonely lifestyle, then there's a high likelihood that you'll develop depressive symptoms, and then you can even get a mood disorder as a result. So another known cause is bereavement, because bereavement definitely usually brings about sad moods.
Yeah.
When you lose someone that you love or someone that's so close to you, you'll find that you become sad, because that definitely affects you negatively for some time. And other people are not able to cope. So the sadness persists, it becomes a mood, can become a mood episode, and then eventually become a mood disorder, like depression. We also have trauma or abuse. People who have experienced trauma or abuse, especially during childhood, might also end up developing mood disorders. We also have low self-esteem or negative thinking patterns. If low self-esteem has been mentioned that it contributes to mood disorder, especially depression, because every time when you attach very low worth to yourself, when you think negatively about yourself, then it will definitely affect your mood, and then you live feeling bad about yourself, and you are at risk of developing a mood disorder, particularly depression. Chronic stress. When I was explaining about the mood, I talked about sadness can lead to stress and then lead to depressive episodes. So also chronic stress or negative stress, if not handled properly, can lead to a mood disorders, particularly depression. And this stress can emanate either from work, from relationships. It could be due to finances or any other thing that is causing you to not cope appropriately. Yes, so those are some of the most common causes of mood disorders.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now we've understood the different causes or the common causes of mood disorder. I want to ask, when we have had this conversation about mental health,
yes,
we've really had so many different people saying how stigma has affected a lot when it comes to mental health.
Yes.
Yeah. So is there stigma when it comes to mental health and mood disorders?
Oh yes, there's still a lot of stigma, and stigma has been mentioned that to be one of the barriers for people to seek for help or seek for support, because people fear of being judged harshly or being judged unfairly when they present with mental health issues. And because we've mentioned that mood disorder is also one of the most common disorders, mental health disorder that people experience in this country, Kenya.
Yeah.
So a lot of people with mental health issues are most of them definitely are struggling with mood disorders. So there's a lot of stigma to this extent that perhaps, let's say you are at the workplace and then you're having a bad mood. What is the first thing that people will say? Huyu msa akona attitude.
But right? For the ladies, itakuwa huyu inakaa akona mashiru and all that.
Yeah, maybe akona mashiru, maybe akona mimba.
Yeah.
For a man, mtu akona attitude, akona umama, akona, you understand?
Yeah.
Whereas perhaps this person might actually be struggling and in need for help. So people have not been able to appreciate or understand that mood can actually be a disorder. Instead of extending kindness and empathy and perhaps trying to assist, we are quick to judge. Yeah. And that's how stigma comes about. But I think with this kind of shows, when we're trying to bring up these conversations, then we are hopeful that the stigma will eventually go down as people become more aware. And even we say that apart from being aware, we want them to take actions to actually reduce the stigma.
Yes. Yeah. So it is important actually for you to, if you feel like you have any issue with your moods, you've experienced any signs that we've mentioned in this show, it's very, very important for you to seek professional help. And some of you will say, oh, professional help is expensive. We are offering it for free here. So you can only just take the chance, be confident enough, and just take your phone and call 0700-352-250 and you'll get the help you need. Yeah. So usikae hapo ukisema, oh, you know, watu watanibeba aje, oh, watasema niko aje, oh, nini. It's just a matter of you making a decision to just make the call, yeah? Yes, which will change your life completely, I promise, yeah? Yeah, so I want us now to have parting shot about this conversation.
Yes.
What would you tell somebody who maybe has been feeling very high moods of happiness, somebody very low of has been feeling very low? Yes. What can you tell them? Maybe advice, yes, or also something that can crown this conversation up?
Yes, before then, I don't know if time will allow, I'll briefly mention about the treatment modalities that are available to treat mood disorders. Viewers gracefully told us how to manage mood dysregulations when perhaps your moods are not that stable, what you can do to exercise, to journal, and what have you. But now, when someone has this disorder, how is it managed or treated? Number one is through medication. Especially when mood disorders are very severe mental health condition. And when someone is depressed, you will find that sometimes you don't even have the energy to face the day. And perhaps you will require some antidepressants to try and lift your mood. So for mood disorders, we usually recommend for a clinical intervention. And that's when medication comes in. Yeah. And then we also have psychotherapy. Psychotherapy is now when we try to talk and challenge some of those core beliefs. We try to motivate you to get back on your feet. And then we also have self-care. There are things that you can do, generally make them a routine. Like me, I've made running a routine in journaling. So you can also choose your dose, something that you do that will definitely promote your well-being. And if you take care of yourself, you definitely take care of your mental health, the chances of you getting some of these disorders also become minimal. Yeah. Just the same way that like when you live a healthy lifestyle, chances of getting these they're called lifestyle diseases also become minimal. Yes. Yeah. So we can also get support. There are support groups that are there for people who have this kind of disorders. And because we also advocate that healing should be communal. You don't heal alone. Yeah. When you share the problem, it becomes less to bear. So those are some of the treatment and management modalities that are available. Now, for the parting shot, I'd really like to, if there's someone who's struggling with a mood disorder, I like to inform them that they're not alone, that help is available. My host Peninah shared with you a number where you can be able to get support. And to the general viewers, let us be less in our judgment and be more loud in our support and showing kindness. When someone perhaps is hyper at work, don't be quick kusema ni kerere. Perhaps they're having a manic or a hypomanic episode. When someone is at work and he perhaps has been given some work and cannot perform effectively, instead of being quick to judgment that maybe they're lazy or they don't want to do the work, perhaps you can go a step forward and inquire from them what they're struggling with. And by doing that, we'll be able to build a healthy and prosperous society. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much for actually coming and teaching us, because this has been like in class, teaching us more about mood disorder, and I'm sure that we've gotten to understand and we now know better when it comes to mood disorder. So asante sana for the time, and it's always a pleasure having you here.
Mine.
Okay, so I'd like to extend my gratitude to everyone who has made this show a success. Thank you so much, Elias, for being the camera person and also our director. Asante sana for the good work you do, and to you, our viewers, thank you so much for always staying tuned and for the good work and good feedback that you guys keep sending our way. We love you guys and we actually appreciate every comment that you guys send. So until next time, do have yourselves a beautiful day ahead. Goodbye.
Bye.